Pardon me, guys. Had to figure out which one was the display that I was using, but appreciate y'all for rocking with me, man. It's your boy Commissioner Moolah, and we are on podcast episode 11, and it's been a good week. It has been a really good week. Let me get a sound check in the chat. Let me make sure you guys could hear me. Is everything good? Shout out to my guy Mac. Shout out to my guy BJ. Shout out to Ace Andre Roche. Shout out to Eli Carter, man. The guys is here in full effect. They said I'm sounding good. Everything is everything. So yeah, guys. Just to start this podcast off, we just had a really good game between USC and Ole Miss. I mean LSU and Ole Miss. Fantastic game. LSU came out victorious. They've been looking really good all year, especially after that streak. It was kind of early on. It was like, I don't know what this team is gonna be. Then they kind of hit their stride and started getting it going. Went on a 6 game streak up until they met a very tough Penn State team. Johnny Manziel did his thing in that game. It was really tough. It came down to the wire, but they wound up losing that. Couldn't make the 7 game streak. But now they came in against a 6-2 Ole Miss and they caught the W. So I'm not gonna speak too much on it yet, but that was a really good game just now. I advise anybody who missed that to go check that thing out, man. They really did their thing. Stop that offense, and that's drawing a lot of questions about what type of team is Ole Miss really? You know what I mean? Because their schedule hasn't been too crazy. So if we're being honest about Ole Miss's schedule, then we just gotta take into the to account that they haven't had the craziest comp. Like we're gonna go to Ole Miss's schedule, and I figure you guys let me know. Do y'all want the regular normal structured podcast, or you want to bounce around between some topics that some topics that we can really dive into and that really been shaping the league thus far. Because we could do it the basic way where I go through each game and all that too. But we also could just dive into some things, unpack some things like looking at Ole Miss's schedule to begin with. Check this out. So week 1 they played Florida State. And granted, Florida State is tough. You see, at 6-3, they took a loss to Florida State. So that's a loss, but that's a quality loss for them, right? Then you have them versus Tennessee. That's kind of a give me. Like, they look at under 500, 2-6. It's like, we'll give them that win. So they're 1-1 now. Then third game, they go against a 4-5 Auburn Tigers. Of course, I'm using the records as they pertain to now. So Auburn is 4-5, and they beat them in week 3. You know what I'm saying? Then you go to the Sooners. They took a loss to the Sooners. Sooners are a really good team, but they haven't been playing, that well. They're at 4-6 right now, and they lost to them. Then you have Tennessee again, not really a good team, and they beat Tennessee once again. So they beat Tennessee twice, who's not really like that. Lost to the Sooners and lost to Florida State. And they have a decent win against Auburn, right? Auburn's a pretty good team. Shout out to Ace. Shout out to all the guys in the chat, man. I see your guys' comments. So as y'all as I'm going through this, feel free to jump in, chime in, because that's what we're doing. That's what it's here for, man. I think I may do this pod differently structure wise. I may just go into some topics that I really want to talk about. And yeah, man. So Ole Miss, they beat UCLA, a 2-6 UCLA. Their biggest win here is USC 38-7. I would say this is their biggest win because the rest of the wins aren't that impressive. They beat Texas A&M. I get that's a decent win too because Texas A&M, although at 500, they're not a slouch, but they only have beaten one team that's above 500 thus far. The only team they've beaten above 500 is USC. So does that work against them, guys? Let me know. Talk to me in the chat. Does that work against a team like Ole Miss? They've only beaten one team above 500. As you can see, they've beaten Tennessee twice, Auburn once, Oklahoma. No, they lost to Oklahoma. UCLA, USC, and A&M. Those are their 6 wins. Are you guys impressed by those 6 wins? Guys are saying weak schedule. And look, as it stands, they're supposed to go against Iowa, another under 500 team, and Mississippi State, who's at 500. So not saying that these teams can't, and then the Badgers, like, yeah, I'm gonna have to adjust the schedule and give them another quality game, guys. So I would say one of these weeks, from 11 to 13, Ole Miss will get a good opponent. I will have to give them a better opponent, because now that I look at it too, and I'm thinking about it, let me get. I have to pull up that image of the I want to pull up that zone image, because I actually could update the zone image as well, because that schedule is just not. And I want to give them an opportunity to prove themselves. You know what I mean? They right now it's just not looking like anything too crazy, and they've lost to some of the better teams. USC is their best win here. Yeah, USC is their best win. If I'm being honest, and I want to give them the opportunity to prove themselves. And they're in look, they're in LSU zone, they're in Texas A&M zone, they're in Tennessee zone. So and then let's check out the zones real quick. Of course, look, the zones are all next to each other, guys. Just to make this easier, the zones are all next to each other, guys. So basically the NFC East and the AFC East is one zone. AFC North, NFC North is one zone. AFC South, NFC South is one zone. AFC West and NFC West are all one zone, guys. I'm gonna actually move myself as well, just so that way I'm not in the way of anything on this chart. So here's the updated zones, guys. And you guys take a look at each zone, and look at the top teams of each zone. So you got Michigan and Texas at the top of their respective zones. And of course, we're doing this on the fly. We're not looking at head to head yet. But right now, the Michigan Wolverines and the Texas Longhorns are at the top of their zone. They have the most wins. When we go look at just let's see. When we look at division, they'll be 1-1. And of course, we're not really looking at division, because we're looking at this zone as a whole. I can actually do zone records as well. I can look at some zone head-to-head matchups and check that and incorporate that. Shout out to my guy Ty K. Wells, man, in the building, Alabama corner. That kid is locked down. But yeah, man. So as you see this, you can see the top teams in each zone. You got Texas and Michigan really at the top of the zone, and Michigan State is still in there. I would even say the Cowboys are still in there, based on the wins that they can get. And if y'all want to unpack these team schedules, we could do that as well. We could go to we'll start with the top teams of zone 1, which would be the NFC East and AFC East. So if we go to Texas, right? In week 1, Texas beat TCU at 2-7. Week 2, they beat Georgia at 4-5. Week 3, they lost to Michigan State, who's a tough team. That's also a zone game. And Michigan State has beaten Michigan and Texas. So that's definitely going to help Michigan State when it comes to their argument for the conference championship, because they've beaten the 2 top teams in head-to-head matchups. They lost to Auburn 4-5. They lost to Oklahoma. They beat Oklahoma State, who's above 500. They beat Iowa, who's below 500, and they beat the Wolverines, who is above 500. They beat Ohio State, who's below 500, and they lost to USC. So I would say similar to Ole Miss, but they've honestly played better teams than Ole Miss, but their wins even came against better teams than Ole Miss. If I'm just looking at this, like their best win is, I would say, Michigan, But they also beat Oklahoma State, who's above 500. So that's 2 wins above 500. That's 2 wins against teams above 500 for them. They do have some tough losses on here. Like they lost to Auburn, who Ole Miss has beaten. They lost. They both teams lost to the Sooners. They lost to Michigan State, which is above 500 team. They're tough. They beat Georgia, and that's why the end of the season is gonna play a really good factor into things too, because the end of the season will have everybody's record, and when we go look at these schedules, we'll really see who's above 500, what's a quality win, what's a quality loss. We can still predict that based on certain teams' records. Like week 1 won't be a quality win no matter how the end of the season goes. They can't get above 500, but Georgia still has a chance to finish above 500. Michigan State still has a chance. Auburn still has a chance. Even Oklahoma still has a chance. All of these teams are really in the running for being above 500 on Texas's schedule, outside of Ohio State and TCU. So the Ohio State and TCU wins will factor in, but as you can see, they still have a better schedule than Ole Miss per se. And Ole Miss is not even in their zone. So if we're just looking from a zone perspective, then we could go into the Wolverines now and check out what their quality of wins look like. We got 7. They lost to Michigan State 7-14. That's why this 5-4 from Michigan State is pivotal, because although they're 5-4, they do have a really good head-to-head record against some of the top teams in their zone. So that can get them into a conference chip as long as they don't fall, crazy below the win margin. If they don't fall behind too much in the win category, they definitely can get into that conference chip. And we also will look at Michigan State's schedule to see where their quality of schedule has been panning out between everybody else. So Michigan versus Michigan State, that's a quality game. They lost though. Oregon is like, they got to win against Oregon. A tough one against Mississippi State, who's at 500, and we know they have one of the best defenses. Ohio State win is they lost to Notre Dame, which is a good game. That was a good game. Both teams at 6-4 right now, as you can see. They beat Iowa, which is 4-5. As you can see, that game is They lost to Oregon State, who's 7-3. They lost to Texas, who's 6-4. They beat Oklahoma, who's beaten some pretty good teams, and they beat TCU. Yeah, man. The more we get into this season, we're gonna see some things, because the 6 team they've beaten is TCU, Oklahoma, Iowa, Ohio State, Mississippi State, and Oregon. That's not too crazy either. You know what I'm saying? That's honestly not too crazy either. But they've beaten a couple of teams that are still, what would we say is their best win right here based on this schedule? Their best win has to be hmm their best win would be Oklahoma at 4-6. So Michigan, oh no, Iowa at 4-5. The best win would be Iowa at 4-5. So it's still even tough for Michigan. Or no, Mississippi State at 5-5. So Mississippi State at 5-5 will be their most quality win, honestly. And you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not too convincing for certain teams, man. Let's go to a team like the Spartans, because I feel like probably had a tougher schedule. They beat Michigan, that's a quality win. They beat Oklahoma, which seems to be a quality win because Oklahoma has been beating some pretty good teams. They beat Texas, very quality win there. They lost to Oregon State, that's a big loss. That's a really good team to lose to in that sense. This is a bad loss. Losing to TCU in week 5 is not a good look for them. They beat Washington. good defense, but you know they've had their issues. They beat Ohio State. They lost to the Cowboys, which seems like a pretty good one, and they also just lost to Utah as well, and they lost on a late end. So yeah, I would say Michigan State has had a toughest one of the toughest schedules that we're looking at. And they're playing it pretty well. They're playing it pretty well. All of their losses is to decent teams. They lost to the Beavers, TCU, um, Cowboys, and Utah. So they may have some bad losses, but they're a competitive team, and they've beaten some good teams. They've beaten some good teams. The TCU loss hurts them, but they definitely have beaten some good teams, man. They beat Texas, they beat the Sooners, and they beat Michigan. So they've beaten some decent teams in my opinion. I keep going to that. I gotta go to standings, and then if we go to these Cowboys, let's see who they've played and who they've beaten. I'm not gonna go through every team. I'm just trying to look at the strength of schedule right now because we only have 12 games, and we had to do some realignment things just to make sure things were on key, and we just trying to make sure everything is everything. But so the Sooners. They beat the Sooners. That's a quality win based on who they've been beating. They beat Auburn. That's good. They lost to Bama. That's a good loss for them. They beat TCU. They lost to Florida. They lost to Texas. They lost to Florida State. They beat Michigan State and they beat Penn State. I would say that these Cowboys had one of the toughest schedules. I would say that Oklahoma State has had one of the toughest schedules, and they've had a better schedule than the top teams in their they had a better schedule than the two top teams in their zone right now. So even when looking at these conference chips at the end of the year, it's something to watch, man. It's something to pay attention to because look at the quality of these games. Look at the quality of these games. They beat the Sooners, who's been a good team a good team, although they're 4-6. They beat Auburn, another good little 4-5 team, so under 500, but a good team. They've lost to Bama. They beat TCU. They lost to Florida. They lost to Texas. All of their losses is coming against some of the best teams. Florida, Texas, Bama, and Florida State is their four losses. Their four losses is to arguably the top four teams, to teams that's arguably should be in the top four. So these next two games is definitely crucial because they can beat a Georgia. They already played Texas, so that game will be changed. But this 5-4, and then Ohio State, I think they played Ohio State too. Have they played Ohio State? Let me see. No, they haven't played Ohio State, but this team can potentially do some things. What would be their most quality win? And appreciate the people tuning in. This is the Mullah vs. Simulation Football League. So we're simulation CPU versus CPU controllerless setting where our players and supporters are where supporters are basically our supporters, and the people who subscribe are basically the players in our league. Pardon me, I'm getting my food, so I was a little bit off. But yeah, those are the players in this league. And we have a dope Discord, dope community. And if that's something that you're into, then definitely tune in. Some guys could put the link to our Discord in the chat. And we do a podcast. We follow statistics. Yeah, we just got a nice community. So I would say, tune in. And I just don't want you guys to be lost at what you are seeing on the screen. But the most quality win for these Cowboys would have to be... because they played the most good teams, but they also losing against these good teams. So I can't, I'm trying to credit them, but at the same time, their best win may be Michigan State. Michigan State and Penn State is their quality wins. And those are not bad quality wins, guys. Honestly, those aren't bad quality wins. Those are definitely not bad quality wins, guys. But at the same time, we just gotta be real, man. These last two games is gonna be crucial. I know we had like a funny schedule with me having to switch the schedules and things like that because of just aligning things to make it realistic based on this mod. But next year we'll be on college and everything will be a lot better. But just based on what we looking at here, man, it's coming down to the wire. I think it's even unpredictable who the top four teams are. I think even the zone championships are kind of gonna be a toss up. Let's go back to the standings real quick, just so you guys can see. As we look in the standings, look at the top of the zones. As I said again, NFC East and AFC East is one zone. NFC North and AFC North is one zone. NFC South and AFC South is one zone. So if you just look across, that's imagine whatever is across from each other being a full conference of 8 teams. So just so you don't complicate it too much. Yeah, everything across is one zone, and the best teams in the North Zone would be Bama, of course, but you still have the Gators in the hunt. You still have Utah in the hunt, and you got Oregon State Beavers. So that zone is really, I want to say, top zone, and wins are going to be very important. Wins going to be very important moving forward in that zone. Shout out to the Book of Eli, man. And man, this is when simulation gets real because Bama's a lock. Bama has played really good teams. Their only loss coming to a really good Gator team. I think unless they just tank, unless Bama was to tank, they have this zone on lock. Now it becomes a three-way battle between Florida Gators, Oregon State Beavers, and Utah. Um, what's going on? My guy Chris Beach in the chat. My guy Book of Eli, Ace Andre Roche, Pharaoh Reigns. And if you're new here, man, please hit that like button and subscribe as well. It's your boy Commissioner Moolah. This is the Moolah vs. Simulation Football League where you can see the game, be the game, and play the game as the game plays you. Controllerless experience, simulation football. Start your journey in college and go all the way to the pros. Full podcast, a dope community to chat with. We even have like a banking system where you earn simulation coins to develop your player. You can bet that on the games, bet that on player stats. And if I take the bet and you win, you get extra points towards your player. So definitely the number one simulation football experience out there right now. We have the biggest following. We get the most views. Not trying to, flex on nobody, but it is what it is, man. We've been doing really good for ourselves and we built up a nice community. So I just appreciate all the support, man. It has been very fun and pardon me, guys, but I gotta get this through this podcast. I know I'm eating at the same time, but we gotta keep it flowing. There's a lot of interesting things going on, and I'm keeping this zone screen up so you can see, what's going on. And these three guys are in a hunt for this conference chip. Each have 3 losses, and it's gonna go down to the wire. These three guys do not want to lose because that can get them snubbed for the conference chip. And as you can see, we have 4 zones. So most likely the champions of the zone is going to be the teams in the top 4. Unless, unless it's just like a Bama situation. If Bama loses the conference chip, if they lose the conference chip but only have 2 losses compared to everybody else, then we could potentially see a scenario where a conference champion doesn't make the final 4. I'm just being honest. And I think most people would agree with something like that, depending on the scenario. I think Bama has played a lot of quality opponents as well, so I think they've proven themselves. But Like I said, that don't mean anything will be given to them. They can't just tank at the end of the season because I'm still taking, so I will still take those losses into account. But I think Bama's like the only team that doesn't need a conference championship to get into that Final Four. And who's to say that they still don't win, or they still don't go to the yeah, who's to say that they still don't win a conference chip? So, it's just gonna be an interesting thing to see pan out. Is there any teams on here that you would want to look at? Is there any teams that you guys would want to look at in these zones? Is there any zone that you want to dissect? I think it's a good narrative just keeping up with these three teams right here to see, who's gonna be that team to represent. Even here, we still have a bit of a three-way battle between Oklahoma State Cowboys, Michigan State Spartans, and the Wolverines to get that second spot. It's looking like the Longhorns are leading the charge, but at the same time, you can't really say between these four teams. It's still like a four-way battle in this zone one right here, but in this second zone right here, it's kind of like a three-way battle for the second spot. And that's very interesting. And if we look to the AFC South and NFC South, for which would be I think zone three, um, it is looking like a battle between USC, LSU, and Ole Miss for those spots, and that's where them head-to-heads will come in tune. I believe that we need. Let me go back to Ole Miss's schedule. Have they played USC already? Because that may be the matchup. Oh yes, they beat USC in the head-to-head. They beat USC in a head-to-head. That was their most quality win. And let's see USC's schedule because that may be the determining factor on who gets picked. Like just in case these teams were to win out, USC lost to Iowa. That's tough. Beat LSU. That's a really good win for USC. Um, they lost to A&M. That's tough. They beat UCLA. That's not too much of a quality win. They beat the Badgers. Decent win. They're at 500. They beat Tennessee. Not a quality win. And then they lost to Ole Miss, and then they beat NC State, which is a pretty quality win, and then they beat Texas. So they have some pretty quality wins. They beat Texas. I think Texas will be their best win. Looking at this schedule, yeah, I think looking at their schedule, Texas. Oh, Texas and LSU. Texas and LSU is big wins. That's big wins, man. Especially with USC being the only big win for Ole Miss. So that's interesting to see right there. That's interesting to see. LSU, of course, with that streak, beating some formidable opponents. I think they're kind of cruising, especially with that big win over Ole Miss today. That gives them the head-to-head over Ole Miss, who's another top team here. Let's see who else they beat, and they lost to USC. See, USC beat LSU, but they beat LSU but lost to Ole Miss. So that's what make things interesting, and that shows you football is a game of just styles and matchups, man. Matchups make the game. Um, LSU's most quality win would be against. Let me see. It'd be Tigers. This is when they went. This is when the streak started. They beat Mississippi State. That's a good win. They beat the Tar Heels. They beat Miami. That's eh. They beat Rado, which is a pretty good team. Then they beat TCU, which is eh. And then they lost to Penn State. But then they came back and they beat Ole Miss today. So that just makes this that just makes things very interesting, man. That makes things very interesting because now we gotta see a game between Ole Miss and somebody. Ole Miss has to be tested. Ole Miss has to be tested against somebody, and we're gonna figure it out. But Ole Miss definitely has to be tested against another good team to see, how they're gonna fare. Yeah, that spaghetti is amazing, man. Pardon me. But Ole Miss definitely has to be tested. Let me see. Who does Ole Miss play? Coming up, they play Iowa week 11. Who does Notre Dame play? Um, Let me see. Notre Dame is also another team that's at the top. Them and Florida State is at the top of their respective divisions. And who does Notre Dame play? Um, week 11, they play USC. That's a big game. That's a big game. Notre Dame plays USC. They didn't play USC already. Oh no, that game will stay. That game will stay. Ooh, that's a big week 11 matchup. That is a huge week 11 matchup, man. But it's a lot going on in these zones, man. This zone may be the most clear cut as far as who's who. Um, we got Notre Dame and Florida State really at each other right now to see what's going on. Um, and that's gonna be interesting. I'm definitely trying to make the top zone teams in the zone play against each other. USC, Ole Miss, and LSU have all played each other, so not much to do there. Oregon State, Utah, Florida, and Bama. We got to make sure those games happen. I'm pretty sure that most of them have happened. I know Alabama and the Gators have played each other. Let me see who the Beavers have played. If the Beavers have played, maybe Utah, lost to Florida State, beat Miami, they beat Michigan State. That's a good win. They beat Penn State, decent win. They beat Wolverines, decent win. They lost to Oregon. That's an ugly loss. They played Bama already. Okay, so they played Bama. They just haven't played Utah. So Oregon State and Utah may be a matchup that we need to see. Because they're in the same zone and they haven't played each other, and both records may be what's needed to see who's over the hump. Yeah, man. So looking at that right there, I think we could get into next week's schedule. I don't really think we have to do too much of a wrap up, guys. Sometimes I feel like the wrap up is unnecessary when I'm doing it, and that's only because we've already saw the game. So it's like, you know, why are we doing the review of the games we saw? I mean, I know that's what podcast is for, but we saw that game already. So week 11 now, we got Ohio State versus Penn State. I have to see if we have duplicates. Um, Oregon State beat Utah already. Let me see. Oregon State beat Utah already. Oregon State beat Utah already. Oh yeah, they have week 1. I'm tripping. So yeah, that game we don't even gotta see that game happen. They just get the tiebreaker right here. Utah still gonna want to win out just to try to like snipe them and have the better record in the zone. But because Utah has put together some nice wins at the end of the year, man. They beat Penn State, Colorado, and Michigan State back to back. Utah is on a streak right now, actually. Let me go to the standings. Yeah, Utah is on a nice little streak. Utah's on a 5-game win streak, guys. Check that out. Utah's on a 5-game win streak. Bama's on a 4-game after, getting back on track. And yeah, man. They showing you Utah's playing good football right now. I peeped that too. I was like, hold on, why I've been feeling like they were under 500 and then they just started popping off. They just started going crazy. So Utah has won their last 5 games after starting off. But they're 1-3. And then they won their last 5 games. They're now 6-3. And they just kind of hoping that one of these teams trail off at the end. That's definitely what they're hoping. They're hoping that one of these teams trail off at the end. Did Utah play Bama yet? Is the question. Because that's no, they didn't play Bama. So we may have to see what's going on with Bama because they played Washington already. So next week we may have that Utah Bama matchup. And who's Bama set to play right now? Auburn? No, it's last week. Bama versus Texas. Ooh. Bama versus Texas. Have Bama played Texas already? Let me see. Did Bama play Texas? I can't remember off the top of my head if Alabama played Texas. No, they didn't play Texas. And that's a huge game right there. That is a huge game right there. And Utah and Bama got to play. But Bama playing Texas, so we're not going to move that game. Because that's a big game. We want to keep that on the schedule. We want to keep that on the schedule. That is going to be a big time matchup. Wow. Next week, we got some really good games. Texas versus Bama next week. And Texas got to be careful because they got some guys. Let me see that schedule for Texas. Georgia, their most quality win. Who we said was Texas' most quality win this year? Oklahoma, Wolverines. Oh yeah, so the Wolverines was Texas' most quality win. Yeah, they got to play that game against Bama. They got to play that game against Bama. That is going to be a crazy game. And that game will definitely stick because they gotta show me what's up, man. They gotta the best gotta play the best, man. The best gotta play the best. And that's a test for both teams. Because that's a test for Bama, but it's also a test for Texas to show, like, are you really that team? These guys have played really well. We know that their defense is tough, but they've been hit or miss at times. Against a team like Bama, I'm gonna see some things come to fruition. Um, Bama's on a 4-game streak. Utah 5. Well, Michigan is on a 2-game streak. Okay. Okay. Yep. Michigan's on a 2-game streak, so it's a lot going on, man. It's a lot going on. No, let's look at Notre Dame's side. They got NC State. They got Florida State. Let's see Notre Dame's schedule and let's see what's their most quality win. They beat UCLA, lost to the Badgers. That's tough. They lost to Utah. Um, they lost to Bama. They beat Michigan. That's a quality win. They beat Clemson. Ill. They beat North Carolina. Not really. They beat Clemson twice. So that's gonna hurt Notre Dame right there. Them 2 wins to Clemson. Um, and they lost to Auburn. They lost to Auburn. That's a tough loss too. And then they beat Florida. So their most quality win is Florida. And that's a big quality win to have though. That is a big quality win for them to have, if I'm being honest. Florida and Michigan, beating Florida and Michigan and being competitive in some of the games that they've been competitive in, it makes sense. Um, yeah, this Utah loss hurts them. If they had beat this Utah team that's playing well like this, that would have been huge for them. That would have been huge. But let me see who Utah's been playing again. I know I might have went over this already, guys, but I gotta just see okay. They lost that. Then they beat Notre Dame. Okay, that's a quality win for Utah. That they lost to the Huskies. That's L. They beat Oregon. Um, okay, so the Utah beat Oregon twice. So that's a ill for Utah. They beat Oregon twice. Then they beat Penn State though. That's tough. Then they beat Buffaloes. That's tough. Then they beat MSU. Okay, so they got some quality wins though. They got some quality wins. We still may have to see, what they got. Yeah, we still may have to battle test them a bit more, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see, because they kind of already lost to the teams in their they kind of already lost in their respective teams in their zone. They just haven't played Bama, but we still gotta see. We still gotta see what's up, and it's still up in the air for a lot of teams. But Notre Dame 6-4. Florida State. Let's look at Florida State's schedule. It can't hurt to look at their schedule because they're another top team. They beat Ole Miss. That's a quality win. They beat Oregon State. Very quality win. They beat Buffalo's. Good win. They beat Penn State. Florida State is looking dangerous. They took a bad loss to Miami. Bad loss to Mississippi State. But everybody they've beaten is above 500 team, and they lost to Florida, but then came back. Everybody they've beaten, they probably had the toughest schedule and did the best with the toughest schedule. So Florida State is looking really tough. They're looking very convincing on the side of hard to make a case for them not to be in top four, especially if they went out and have get a conference championship. They get a conference championship, they may just be in because that schedule is tough. And they've beaten a lot of good teams, and they've only lost to good teams as well. Florida State, they got quality wins. Um, what is this guy talking about? We got quality wins. They got 3 wins. They beat Oregon. That's not a quality win. I guess you could say Utah's a quality win. Oregon, Utah, and who else y'all beat? Y'all beat Oregon, Utah, and Colorado. Oregon, Utah, and Colorado was quality wins, my guy. I'm crying. I am crying. He trying to hold on as much as he can. I don't blame him. He a true Washington guy, man. But like I said, guys, I wasn't able to do too much. I didn't do any adjusting to the schedule yet. But I will be going through looking for doubles. If some of you guys can help me, let me know what double games we have. So this is our games for the week. So if you guys can help me figure out what games are doubles, let me know. So I could replace those games. Okay, Michigan State is a double. Let me write them. Let me write these games down. I'm gonna write these down right now. Uh, let me see. Okay, Michigan State is a double. Um, I gotta see. It's Florida. I gotta just go through each game. I'm gonna have to go through each game and team and see who played each other already. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see. Cause I know there's some doubles on here. I know it gotta be some doubles on here. Did Washington and Utah play against each other already? Yeah, they said Utah versus Washington. Okay. Utah versus Washington is another double. Um, Utah versus Washington is another double. Mm, Oregon versus Miami. Yeah, I'll go through. I don't even want to do too much of a prediction on this because the schedule may move around. So I really don't want to do a prediction on anything. We could go to stats. We could get into them stat leaders. We could definitely get into some stat leaders. A&M and LSU is a double too. Let me see. Let me see. A&M and LSU is a double. Okay. Shout out to my guy Cam Clark tuning in. So A&M versus LSU is a double too. So I figured that out too. Um, yeah, guys, just let me know what game is doubles so I could fix that. Um, yeah, if you guys see any doubles, all my mods, man, screenshot this so y'all can help me figure out which games is doubles before we get out of here. I mean, not before we get out of here, but like when we get in the Discord, let me know, man. So we can get these double games out of there. We only got to do this for the last what 3 weeks. Yeah, last 3 weeks of the season, just to make sure we're on top of everything, guys. I truly appreciate y'all for it. Just want to make sure everything is right. Um, so far though, I think we good. We get into some stats, and then we could do some Final Four talk. We get deeper into some Final Four talk, and we'll look at the rankings actually too. Um, yeah, we could look at the rankings. I should move ahead a week in the franchise tool to see if the rankings change because the rankings may change. But after this week right here, Duncan Woods number one, 29.33. Duke Davis 27.70. Drew McNeil 26.71. Jacob Brewer 25.83. Um okay, I gotta add you. I probably gotta add you through the Discord. I got you. Um Ace at number 5, Jason Duncan at number 6, Zion at number 7, Sambucci at number 8, Prince Gonzalez at number 9, and Marzell at number 10. So those are the top two. Those are the top 10 guys as far as passing yards goes. And the only person really taking off, I would say Duncan Woods is really. I don't want to say a surprise, but that shows you that those Sooners are tough, man. They 4-5, maybe 4-6, but they're tough. They're tough. They're not any joke. Like you cannot play with them. I think Ace might have had his worst game um today. I think he had his worst game today. Let me see. Game logs. I think today was his worst game. No, actually, one of the Tennessee games was his worst game. He only had 190, but he had 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I'll say this was his worst game. 197, no touchdowns, 52 completion percentage. Yeah, this is his worst game. This is his worst game. You gotta credit LSU for that. You gotta credit LSU for that. This is his worst game. He threw 34 times, only completed 18 times, 197 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So LSU is definitely tough. This is his worst game yet. And they did have a bye week. Some of these guys probably didn't. You keep that into account too. It'll be, easier to track once everybody has their 12 games played. But yeah, he's at 5 right now too. That's not bad. And then completion percentage, he's still, as you can see, although he's at 5, he has the highest. He has a high completion percentage than everybody ahead of him. Um, Duke Davis up there as well. Duke has 23 touchdowns actually, and that's it's crazy. Yeah, Duke has 23, Duncan Woods 21, Tyshawn Bryant 21, Ace 21, Jason Duncan 19, Marzell 18, Trey King 18. So when it comes to getting in the end zone, Duke Davis has been that guy right now. Just separating himself from the pack. You see the top guys, all the guys that could really, you know, they could do some things. These guys are tough. Jay Bogner's number 16 in touchdowns. He got 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So that's not bad. He's number 16 in touchdowns, and he didn't play 3 games. So that's not too bad. When you go to yards, let me see. Jay Bogner. Jay Bogner's number 24 in yards. 2,100 yards on the season. It's not bad. 60% completion percentage. 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So that's really not bad. Yeah, yards, he's 24. So yeah. So that's really it. Who got the most interceptions? Most interceptions. Trent Edwards with 11 right now. The least amount of interceptions. Jay King. Jay King only got 2 interceptions on the year. Him and Kenny Knox protect the ball really well. But those are both teams that aren't going anywhere as far as no conference, no championship. So it's tough to see them. You know, they don't give up. They don't give up the ball, but they also aren't taking enough risks or aren't getting it in the end zone enough. Both. Let me see the touchdowns for both of those guys. Yeah, they kind of middle of the pack as far as touchdowns. So they got 2 interceptions, but in the touchdown department, they were 14 and 15. So 23 and 19. I guess that's not too bad. Completion percentage. You got Tyshawn Bryant, 68. Oh no, you got Brock Williamson. Brock is completing 70% of his passes. His team is not playing the best, but Brock is getting it done. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, we good. We good. My bad. I turned the mic off by mistake, but Brock Williamson 70%. Playing good. Playing good. My mic is on now, right? Yo, yeah, it's back on. It's back on. So, yeah, not a bad outing. Completion percentage. You see some guys up there. Um, um, I don't know what that interception percentage is. Um, yeah, I don't know that interception percentage, but it can't be per game because some dudes got 4 and 7 interceptions. Oh yeah, chance to throw a pick maybe. Yep. Yeah, it probably is something like that because I'm trying to see, and I think this rate is QBR. I think this rate is QBR, and Tyshawn Bryant is leading that 110, and then you got Ace right behind him, Duke Davis, Brock Williamson, Johnny Marzell, Jay Bogner, Kenny Knox, Jay King. Yeah, then rate is definitely QBR. I think QBR says a lot. Like I think QBR at the end of the season, like at this point of the season, I think the QBR really means a lot. Like you see the top guys in the mix with QBR. Like it's mostly a surprise to see Weber down this low, like a 90, 94 QBR. Like it's interesting to see that. But I know it makes sense somewhere. But 14 is still not bad. Top 14 out of 32 is not bad at all. But it's just seeing some guys with way worse records, that just, I guess it showed you their decision making, though. Zion is top 12, so he showed you he could do some things. Um, Most sacked quarterback is Marzell, 39 times. And that should show you how tough this kid is, though. That should show you how tough Marzell is. Cause he getting sacked at a high rate, and he still has one of the best QBRs. Zion got sacked 34 times. Yeah, that's tough. But Tyshawn got sacked 30 times. Cam Bryant, 29. Who's the least sacked quarterback? Jason Duncan. And Ace, Andre Roche. Tyler Bledsoe, Brett Sambucci, Jay Bogner. Okay. Okay. Ace be comfortable back there. Yeah, if you thought Jay Bogner was getting sacked a lot, you see these guys. Imagine how sick these guys got to be watching certain games. Samaj is not gonna get sacked a lot because he didn't play too many games. How many games did Samaj even play? He played 4 games. Yeah, and he got sacked 3 times a game. He done got sacked 3 times a game. Samaj got sacked 3 times a game almost. That's kind of crazy. Only one game we got sacked twice. So then we head over to the Rutgers. We got 2,000-yard rushes, man. 2,000-yard rushes. Key Harris from Texas and Devontae Moore from Alabama. Both of these guys looking good. Over the 1,000-yard mark in their freshman years. Ace Lewis is right behind him. I'm pretty sure Ace is gonna get to the 1,000 mark, guaranteed. He still got what, 3 games left? No, he got 2 games left. I think they're 6-4. So Ace got 2 games left. But he's definitely gonna have. He's definitely gonna have 1,000 yards. Patrick Vince definitely gonna have 1,000 yards as well. Michael Smith should get over. John Brunson should get over. Tank Jackson, I don't know. I think they 6-4. I think he got 2 games left. Can the real Tank Jackson do it? Can he get over the 1,000-yard mark? Trip Britton. Still a chance for these guys in the 800s. I don't know about some of these guys in the 700s. Even Tank Wilson, he barely get the rock. He calling that man Wanabago. He gonna be Wanabago if he don't get 1,000 yards. You can't, yeah, you can't be Tank. You gonna have to change your name to Gary, man. If you don't get 1,000 yards, he Gary. I'm calling him Gary next season. Till he get 1,000 yard season, I'm gonna call him Gary. I ain't referring to nobody as Tank if they don't get 1,000 yards as a starting back, man. I know you a freshman, but listen, man, you got to get over the 1,000 yard mark. You lucky college count conference championship. So if you get a conference championship game, you still got an extra shot. College be counting all the stats. They be counting the postseason. So you lucky. But you gonna be Gary Jackson if you don't get if you don't get 1,000, man. And yards per attempt. I'm gonna try to go to the first running back. And not backups because they're gonna have everybody. Nick Patton. Nick Patton got 286. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the most attempts though. I'm gonna find the running back, like the actual running back. Okay, so the first one I'm seeing is Demo. Then you got Brew. Oh, that's Brewer. That's a quarterback. But you got AJ Mullis. So Demo and AJ Mullis is the guys right now. Johnny Hubbard from Clemson, he's good. Ace. Okay. Okay. I see what's going on. Couple guys. Longest touchdown, Benji Truman, Trey McLean, Ace with that 81-yarder, John Herbert 80, Devontae Moore 75, Juwan Rose 75. Yeah, we seen some pretty breakout runs, some pretty big runs in this series. We go to touchdowns. You got Devontae Moore, Ace Lewis, and DeAndre Taylor. Also AJ Mullis at number 1. Who's gonna finish as the touchdown king this year at that position? Broken tackles. We got Devontae Moore leading the charge. Yeah, that kid be breaking out of tackles for sure. I feel like it don't be all the way accurate though. Some guys probably broke more tackles. It just wasn't registering. Oh, that's not even broke tackles. This is 20 plus yards. I'm bugging. Devontae Moore, he got the most runs with 20 plus yards, 7. I just show you the big run ability. Drip at number 5, showing he got that same ability. John Brunson, Key Harris, Hubbard. Yeah, these are the guys that could break a run. Ace Lewis is getting in there too. Ace has steadily progressed into that type of guy. And I think that's fun to watch because early on he looked just like pretty versatile, not like a guy that you could count on 4 downs. But now he's looking like he could be a big time playmaker in the run game. Like Ace has really grown into his role and his player nicely. I like what I've seen from Ace. Definitely seen some big runs out of Ace as of lately. Like definitely. Um, Let me go to fumbles. Keith Raleigh he's running back at the highest with 4, but then we got a couple of running backs with 4. So guys gotta hold on to the pill, man. Gotta hold on to the pill. Let's get to the receiving though. Let's see what the receivers. The most receptions, Keith Raleigh. That's a halfback with the most receptions in the league. Auburn like that little check down, but they be putting him out they be putting him on the outside as well as a receiver. I noticed that. Then we gonna go to yards too. Receptions isn't anything too crazy if the yards don't match. And profit margins is number 1, 745 yards, 52 receptions, 4 touchdowns. That boy Profit Margins doing his thing. Then you got Desmond Himes from Texas A&M. You got BJ at number 3. That boy BJ at number 3. PJ Rivers at number 4. Connor Hicks at number 5. Brenton Sweet at number 6. Michael McConaughey at number 7. Jalen Johnson at number 8. Ronnie Arnett, the tight end of Miami, at number 9. Jackson Collins of Bama got back in the top 10 with 634. Okay, Gianni Zico, 617. Okay. Okay, okay. Well, Pharaoh got the biggest shot at getting that 1K as a receiver. That'd be crazy if he could do that as a freshman. That'd be big time. Can he get that 1K as a receiver? Goss needs some yards, and it's I feel like it's tough for receivers getting that 1K in college like that. 12 games, you gotta have a big game every game. It's definitely possible, but you really gotta be like going crazy each game as a receiver in college to get that accolade. And like you got some guys close though. You gotta give guys credit though. They're close. They're close. See touchdowns. Parker Werner. That boy is no joke. Then Jackson Collins from Bama. Another touchdown machine. PJ Rivers is of Oklahoma. Jay Rello, the red zone threat. Tyree Shady McGrady of Texas. Shady McGrady walked on late and still is number 7 in touchdowns, top 5. I mean, number 5 in touchdowns with 7, and that's really number 3, top for number 3. So that's dope. That's dope. He came on, walked on late, and still, doing his thing. I see JJ Bailey there at about like 4 or 5, top for 4 or 5 with 5 touchdowns. I'm seeing a couple of guys, man. Seeing a couple guys. This is just touchdowns, guys. If y'all want to slow it down, yeah, I can. BJ down here with 3. You know what I'm saying? These quarterbacks spread the wealth though. These quarterbacks spread the wealth. They've been getting it out, getting it to different people. Cinco at number 16. JoJo Cartier Ocean at number 21. He fell off because he had a hot streak where he was coming up. Where JoJo was coming up, but he fell off a bit. Happens, man. But that boy profit margins at the top right now. Let me see the longest. Vontae Moore, 94 yards. Brandon James, 93. Jackson Collins, 87. Troy Frost, 86. Carlos Robinson, 86. So he had some big passing plays. Definitely had some big passing plays. We go to tackles, 115. Paul George. Juan at number 2. Malenka, the user for Bama, at number 4. Okay. Bud Simmons at 13. Mateo Reverend, 28. Momo Woods, 32. Carl Atkins, 34. Anthony Bogner, 36. Yeah, man, it's a nice little vibe. It's a nice little vibe shaping up. You see, solo tackles, Zell Bryson and Juan. Boy, Juan out there doing his thing. If we got to go a page to find Carter, man, it's over. Oh, he number 66 in tackles. So Carter number 66 in tackles. He number 66. He got 8 tackles for loss. Let's see Marcus Carter. Let's see his game logs. He got 2 forced fumbles on the season. No picks. A half a sack. TFL numbers is alright. 7, 11, 4, 6, 10, 3, 10, 5, 7, 9. Okay. Yo, y'all going crazy in the chat. He said he's dusty. Uh, Solo. Okay. See, tackles for loss. Aiden Phillips still number one, 24 tackles for loss. Darren Levy, 23. Darren Levy had a couple tackles for loss too today, so he was trying to get back. Um, he catching up to Aiden. Aiden, a freshman though, that's crazy to see Aiden Phillips going cuckoo like this. One forced fumble, 11 and a half sacks. Aiden is going crazy. Um, yeah, Alexander Fort is tough. 17. He played for LSU. He played today. He brothers of Bama. It's a lot of dudes that's tough, man. Jabari Whitfield, Utah. Okay. It's a lot of guys that's tough, man, that you gotta pay attention to. Jabari Whitfield of Utah. I gotta watch him. I gotta watch him a little more too. You see? He had 3 sacks versus Washington. Okay, so he was like spotty with his sack game. So did he? Okay, but it adds up. It adds up. That's why I was like, I didn't really see this guy. It wasn't too wowing, but it add up for Jabari Whitfield, man. Definitely add up. Carl Calhoun. Okay. Facts. You see 11 and a half. Let me go down there. Terrence Perkins of Michigan. This dude is a beast too. See the sacks was pretty spotty for him too. Didn't get one against Texas or Oregon State or Notre Dame or OSU or Mississippi. No, he got one against Notre Dame. TFLs. Yeah, nah. Terrence Perkins is good though. Perkins is a dog. Gotta watch him. Um, he's 235, 6'4", 235. Outside linebacker, but it is a speed rusher. He's a pass rusher. He's small though. That's pretty small size, but that boy get it done at a pro level. I'm a little worried about that, but that speed kills. Definitely the speed killing. 91 speed, 96 acceleration. Yeah, that speed kills. Yeah, you're a freshman, PV. Everybody freshmen start off. Go to interceptions. You got Sylvester Norcutt. Sylvester Norcutt is another guy who had some big plays to kind of like keep himself in the name as keep himself in the running as one of them top DBs. Couple 2 interception games. Yeah, Sylvester Norcutt is no slouch. Sergio Matthews, y'all know is that guy though, man. Is that guy? He done called game a couple times. That kid is a monster. Um, LaMelo Bracken's been alright too. That's from Ole Miss. There's been a lot. It's been a lot of guys that's pretty good, man. A lot of guys. And yeah, it definitely explains why he's pretty weak in the run game. Cause I mean, he still got decent TFLs, but definitely not too crazy in the run game. Like I don't really see him stopping guys like at the line and all that. Cause they pick up those blocks, they driving them back is a little different than when he gets to rush them. But nonetheless, though, he's really good though. So Perkins is really good. We go through these stats, man, and definitely hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. This is the MSFL Moolahverse Simulation Football League. It's your boy Kamish Moolah. The only place you can see the game, be the game, play the game as the game plays you. The guys in the chat are all representing their players. It's a controllerless experience, but one like no other. So I'm telling y'all now, join the top football simulation experience there is out there. You begin in college and work your way all the way to the pros, man. This is our very first college series, and the pros is coming soon. Pros coming soon. We're gonna do a little pro series with some generics just to establish the league itself. And we'll start to fill in the users as they graduate in from college. So yeah, man. It's gonna be fun to see. Um, and that's pretty much it as far as the statistics right now. Um, I guess I can get into these power rankings, like show you these power rankings right here. Not sure how much of a change you will see. They got the top four teams is these guys right here. Um, I may have to move ahead. Let me see something. Uh, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go a week. I'm gonna actually open up the file. Oh, why did I do that? Offline. Yeah. I'm actually gonna get into the game file and I'm gonna move ahead of the week. I'm gonna advance the week and see what's what. So you guys can get that game view too. I actually could show you guys the stats that way sometimes too, but the franchise tool just makes it easier. It shows everything right there. I don't have to do too much clicking and scrolling. But I'm definitely gonna get this game capture up and show you guys what's going on in file as well. Let me wait till the game actually pops up. So the game's booting up right now. We're gonna go in the file. I'm gonna advance the week, and as I advance the week, you guys will see a little more. Let me see. Here we go. Don't need that music copyrighting us. But yeah, let me get there. We get in this franchise file real quick, and then I'll show you guys what that's looking like. Is it gonna pull up? I don't know. Whenever I do a window capture like this, it's just like a little weird. Okay, so I probably just gotta do a game capture. Um, window capture. I'll do a game capture. Alright, boop, 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 boop. Game capture. There we go. Alright, so this is the file. You guys see in the back. You guys seeing behind the scenes right now of the file. But yeah, so we about to go through this file real quick. Now I can pull out my controller and navigate this way, but we gonna simulate this week. We got all the games done. Yeah. Try to make sure it wasn't no game missing. We go advancing. So I almost sim to the playoffs too. That would have messed up. So okay, so now we into the next week. To the next week real quick. Let's see who got that. So these are the player of the weeks. Oh, Zion got him a player of the week. Okay, Zion. And then we got Duncan Woods with a player of the week as well. You feel me? That's how it go right there. So that's good to see. Um, what else we could look at in this file right here? What you guys want to look at? I mean, we got yearly awards too. Do you know they start showing a little yearly award stuff. You guys could look at that MVP. You see who they got in the top three, and you see who they got number one right now. You know what I'm saying? I see who they got number one. Coach of the year probably gonna be Bama too. Um, AFC Offensive Player of the Year, they got Devontae Moore. So that should show you what's going on. They also got some other guys. They got Jackson Collins, Dre Britton in there. Um, and this is just for AFC. Defensive Player of the Year, Aiden Phillips, Alexander Fort in there, Darren Levy. But I agree with the Aiden Phillips, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Would you be like best freshman, PJ Rivers? He wouldn't even really count. So we go like Key Harris here, Michael Smith, Profit Margins also could be in there. Um, uh, defensive rookie Alexander Ford. Still, once again, want to be a rookie. Him, Noah, Sergio. We don't even got no users on here, so that would just kind of be left. Quarterback on this side, they got Tyshawn over Duke, the quarterback over here, and they got Tyshawn over Ace as well. He's been playing really well though. He definitely has been playing well, and they had like a tougher schedule than those guys. Running back, you got Demo, wide receiver Jackson Collins, you got Parker Warner in there too, showing you some things. You got Profit Margins at number 4. Best O line, you got Parker Roden, D line, no surprise. Linebacker, no surprise. Merrick. Ain't no real surprises here. You guys pretty much see what's going on and know what's going on. Yeah, best D lineman. Yeah, that don't look too surprising to me. Linebacker Heath Brothers. That's not really surprising. That boy is killing it. He's almost like a edge rusher too, as well. But he can also play. He can play both inside, outside. That's what I like about his brothers. So I like that pick right there. DBs, no surprise. Sergio Matthews. I told you Sylvester Norcutt, LaMelo Brackens. Gotta watch out for these guys. And then if we go to the other side, we could go through the same thing. They got Ace for Offensive Player of the Year over here. Defensive Player of the Year, they got Terrence Perkins, rookie Ace, Glenn Ingram. Let me see, do we have any users over here? Well, I'll be able to. Nope. We never got no freshmen over here that I could have threw in that mix. Best QB. We got Kenny Knox. Okay. Jay King. Okay. Kenny Knox. Both of these dudes is because they don't have that many interceptions. So Bretson Bucci fell off a cliff. Um, and this is still a little bit weird on this side. Where do you see yourself at, Carter? You do not see yourself here. I do not see you on here, Carter. Yeah, you're not on here. Halfback Ace. They got Tank. Tank is number 2. Tank is number 2 in the conference right now. But best running back is between him and Ace. Out of the users, even out of everybody for real, it's really between him and Ace. So Tank, man, you could get you an award too, man. You gotta show us something. Ace might run the tables. Troy Frost and took off best wide receiver. These past couple of games is really why Troy Frost is up there. He done passed Rello and Jalen Johnson and Keyshawn Covington and BJ. So Troy Frost and passed them boys. Find out, man. Khalil Allen, he's good. He's really good for Notre Dame. Whitfield, Dwayne McBride, Jared Bingham. Jared Bingham started kind of falling off, but early on he was crazy. He was going crazy. Linebacker Perkins, that's not a surprise. Definitely not a surprise. Enrique Knight, Sergio Yarborough is nice too. Gotta keep an eye on a couple of these dudes. Best kicker, yeah. Yep. So that give y'all a look there. I really wanted to advance this week so we could see what the power rankings had guys at. Um that's what Madden got right now. But I think this might just be strictly off a record. Yeah, yeah, this might be strictly off a record. But I could see I'm gonna close out of the file real quick and go right back into the franchise tool just so we can see the power rankings real quick. Yeah, let me just see them power rankings real quick. Bring y'all back to that screen. Yep, there we go. Let's go to the power rankings. So at number 1, you got Bama. Number 2, Ole Miss. Number 3, Oregon State. And number 4, Texas. So that's what they got as the top 4 right now in the power rankings. But of course, those are all subject to change. Of course, those are all subject to change and will likely be changing. When we take into consideration what we take into consideration. Um, they got Notre Dame at 9. So I would say all of these teams right here still got a little shot, man. These teams still got a shot. So I can't play around, man. I gotta get to the nitty gritty. Gotta stop playing. Gotta stop playing. We got any questions before I get up out of here, man? It's been a good stream. It's been about an hour and a half, so right on par with the usual time frame. I gotta go through the schedules and get the schedule together, y'all. For next week. Because we probably gonna air them games. We gonna start those games tomorrow when I get back. Thursday and Fridays be my days. So we most likely gonna start those games tomorrow when I get back. But yeah. Yeah, man. Tomorrow, as soon as I get back, we air some games. I'm gonna try to get out like 3. Cause I'm trying to stay on top of it. I get 3 out tomorrow and Friday. That's already 6 out the way. Let me see how many games is next week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, yeah, 15. So it's 15 games. We knock 6 out the way. Knock another maybe 3 out the way. That'd be 9. So yeah, man, we got 15 games to get out the way from Thursday to Sunday. We could do it. I could probably push into Monday again. Like how we did this week. Yeah, I actually pushed into Wednesday. So it was basketball on, man. I know it's basketball going on, so I've been pushing certain days. We be trying. I always say I'm trying to stream every day, but if I have something to do, then I'll just let y'all know. But y'all know I be trying to stream every day, and I just like the schedule like that because I feel like I get more done that way. And I survey around, and I see other leagues still don't stream as much as we do. Live. I've seen some pre-record stuff, but as far as a live thing where like it's right there, the exact time, I don't really see nobody really keeping up. I think we're further along than a lot of the other leagues too. Yeah. So I think from a consistency and trying to like stream every day, I think the way we do it has been fine. Um, yeah, I think it's been fine. I know maybe some guys would rather set schedule, but I feel like guys don't really follow set schedules anyway. I feel like everybody pretty much go off the vibe of how they feeling and when they free. And I feel like guys are gonna watch their games anyway. Like even if you miss your game, I feel like guys are gonna go through, skim through, and watch their team play. So it is what it is. I'm just comfortable with the schedule. It works well with my time. Whenever I got something to do, I can just knock it out the way, and we still get the games done in a timely manner. We still get the podcast. I like to keep everything in order, regardless if we behind or not. Um, we got 11 weeks through, and we got 11 weeks through, and we had 11 podcasts. So, although I thought early on like I wasn't gonna be able to do podcasts almost every week, I still was able to, get a lot of podcasts through and make sure that we're covering these topics. I like today's podcast too. I think we kind of like went into certain things more so than trying to keep a structure of how we was doing it. So yeah. He said playoffs starting. I gotta watch those, so I like the way the schedule is. Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. Like I like basketball too. I am a sports fan, guys. So I do watch the other sports. So it is gonna be times I'm like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I'm watching a game, or I may go out to watch the game with my peoples, or watch it with my dad and stuff. Like yesterday, I watched the games with my brothers and my dad, and that was dope. And the West Coast games be late, so I didn't even get the chance. I didn't even get the chance to watch some of the games today. I gotta catch up. I'm a Knicks fan, so we got the second seed, so I'm not really tripping on the playing. But I do still want to watch like some of the top teams that I like, to play, especially the stars and stuff like that. I'm a huge NBA fan, NFL fan. When the political stuff get involved, I try to take my breaks from the league when the political things happen that I don't agree with. But we all grew up in a sports era, so gotta. I mean, yeah, we all grew up in a sports era where it's just a heavy part of like our culture. So it is what it is, man. So I try not to get into the politics, but that's another thing that motivated me to get into simulation sports. Fun fact, and have my own league, because I played in other leagues, but I feel like simulation sports gave me a different outlet than the politics and just social structures around the regular leagues. You know what I mean? NBA, NFL. It's a lot of politics that I feel like the average consumer don't really agree with, and I think simulation sports give us a break from those politics. Like it also puts us in a game where we're kind of creating this own world that we have with others and building community. And I think that's really dope. Like that's always been a dream of mine. So like seeing it come together full circle is fire. And we talk about all the sports in the chat too. Like some days I wake up and we just be talking about what's going on in all the other leagues. Not only simulation included. I'm talking like real life leagues, and I think that's dope. I think it's dope to have that safe space with others where you could just bounce your sports opinions. Sometimes we be arguing in the VC about who this and who that. We had Keyshawn Covington trying to tell us. I forgot who he was trying to tell us. I think he was trying to tell us that Sterling Sharp was better than Jerry Rice. He was going crazy one day in the chat, and we was like, "What?" So yeah, man, it's just fun though to have a community, get different perspectives on sports throughout everyday life and experiences, man. So I definitely appreciate y'all always, man. And yeah, I finished my dinner. It was a heavy dinner, and it was really good. But I ain't really get to kill it. I'm starting to get a little tired. I'm gonna use the bathroom, watch some TV with the fam. And appreciate y'all as always, man. If you new, man, get in tune with the Moolah verse, man. We a cool community. We be chilling. We do our thing, man. We do our thing at our pace, but we still outpacing the rest, man. We done got a football season in, basketball season in. We had multiple basketball seasons. We had a high school series, we had a overseas series, and we had a pro series. And yeah, man, we killed it. So that was fun to do. It was fun to have unfold, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna do it again. Um, I think for basketball, even though we're not in basketball season, guys, I think the next thing for me in basketball, honestly, with 2K, is doing a Moolah verse tournament where like how the Drew League is, where we take different teams each year, put them in a league setting, and then let them play each other. Everybody plays each other, and then we do a playoffs. I think that's what I'm moving towards with the basketball league, because transferring players using a 2K, it could get just tedious from year to year, and having players carry over could be tedious from year to year. And I think a setting where it's like NBA, where all of these players are carrying over, is just tough to keep up with, especially with me doing it myself, having to create all the players and not having like a dependable staff. That's just tough. But I do think if we change it to like a tournament each year, so like it's new teams, new players, new generics each year, and just seeing who's the best, and then taking those top generics from the best years or championship teams and having to cross those guys over is a lot better than having reoccurring people from like college to high school to pros. I think that would be a better way to attack basketball, just from what I learned over time of trying to transfer players over. So I will be dropping some news about that soon and letting guys sign up for the league. But I think I'm just gonna do like one tournament a year, and then just do it like that. Or I may just do two tournaments. I may do like a college tournament or like an amateur tournament, and then I may do like a pro tournament, and then you know, based on how you play, you can move up to the pros and stuff like that. I just may do it like that because it's just hard to transfer everything over. And guys, some guys just go MIA. They got different things to do with their time, so they can't keep up with their players' tendencies, or they can't keep up with this or that, and it just be a lot. It just be a lot, like especially when guys ain't keeping up with their players, but then they pop up every once in a while and they want to see what's going on. It's like you could get lost in that when you got college, high school, and all of that, and overseas. But I think if we just do like a Moolah verse tournament every year and have guys, the most active guys will cross over. So a guy like Pharaoh Reigns, a guy like Gary Jack, a guy like, Elijah Carter or like Ace Andre Roche, like those are guys who have been active from, throughout the whole Moolah verse experience. So those are guys that will cross over. Like I know they will be here when it's time for basketball season. Patrick Vince is another guy. So those guys will be like, okay, I could take the time to create your guy over and do it like that. But just the college to pros, uh, just because of the generic players will be a lot. You know what I'm saying? It just I don't know. I don't know. And then everybody's like, I see, not that everybody's doing it in that way, but I just see it. I've been seeing it. And generics is hard to transfer over, and I like things to be consistent. I don't like each year to have different generics. It's the only thing. I don't like each year to have different generics. And that's something that I've seen, and I'm like, it's just not fun for me. Like when I look back at my channel, I always want to see the growth from real time events, and I want to see things fall in order because I want it to be like a series, like a real series that you watch where you you see this start here and these characters cross over. I don't like just disappearing characters. So whatever structure we go with going forward for basketball will be a structure in which, like, it makes sense if you see different cast members. Like if we're in a tournament and you don't see this person, then that team may not be in, or that person may have took time off. You know what I'm saying? Like say if we got an inactive guy last year, I would be forced to bring him over the way that we doing it because he was the top college recruit. You know what I'm saying? It's like things like that mess up the stories. Yeah, things like that mess up the stories. And with football, it's just easier to build the players. So and it's not really that it don't really mess things up as much. But I think just a tournament, like it's still like a season, guys. It's still gonna be a season. So don't just think like don't think like a tournament bracket. I'm saying like tournaments that you play in, that you were playing in your hometown, or a league that you were playing in your hometown where everybody gets their team. They play each team maybe twice, and then you then go to the playoffs. And I'm just saying doing that each year with the new signups, instead of having like a funneling system of the players and then guys going MIA in college type of thing. So yeah. So it's like something like that. Yeah, like a nice little tournament. And I do have I can get it on a PC and put us in like some custom places. I don't even think that'll be necessary, honestly, because PC is not next gen. So a lot of people that I've been talking to about basketball stuff, they like if you're not doing cinematic stuff to stay on console. Cause I was like trying to get advice for PC stuff, but they was like just stay on console if you're not doing cinematics because it's um it's just a lot better. It's easier, it's better gameplay because it's not next gen. So I was like, okay, I'll take that advice. But I think yeah, we just gonna go like tournament style, actual season to season style, so that way like we could get more seasons done like that because whoever's active in the Moolahverse, like imagine right now, if I didn't have to think about the college, high school, overseas, we could have a Moolahverse tournament right now with the guys that are active and just do a pro setting like that. And like as soon as one season is over, we could jump right into the next season, you know, and not have to worry about a college series, a high school. So I mean, I guess you guys let me know if you guys want to keep waiting for, this class or this person is not active. Now we gotta go remake players and stuff like that, or like change all of that because it was a lot of players in each series, but it's like making those guys over if they not active and then taking their stories away if they were top prospects. It doesn't fit a story. But if we do a tournament, it's easy to say this guy's been inactive. You know what I'm saying? He didn't sign up for the tournament this year. You could build a story around why he didn't sign up. And then also the guys that don't sign up, they'll stay at their overall. If they sign up, say if you played in season two and you were 70 overall, you could come back in season five, but you would be a 70 overall. You know what I'm saying? So it also gives people time that if you didn't, if you couldn't sign up or you didn't have time to be active this year, you could catch another season and just jump right in, opposed to having to follow a storyline system, a each year system. So yeah, I think that's the way I'll do it. I think I will still include generics that I would definitely still include generics that I rock with. You know what I mean? I would definitely still include generics that I rock with. Like Eddie House. It was a couple dude, not Eddie House. Am I forgetting his name? DJ House. DJ House. It was a couple of generics that I was rocking with that was pretty good, and you'll see those guys pop up like a 2K storyline. But for the most part of trying to keep up with inactive guys and all that, that's the hardest part about leagues when you're trying to tell a story. And I've been trying to tell a story with all of the leagues, so I think a tournament would just be better. Um, and I just went on a whole tangent about basketball at the end of this podcast, but it is what it is. I do still want to get a basketball season going. We getting to the end of college series, so if you guys are interested in basketball, the guys that are interested, I'll start funneling that information to y'all. Just let me know. Y'all can hit me in the football chat too. If you're watching this and you're interested in basketball and you're not in basketball already, hit me in the chat and I'll get you right with basketball. Um, yeah, yeah. So hit me in the chat. I'll get you guys right with basketball, and we gonna figure that out. But like I said, I think we just gonna stick to just like a pro setting and like a tournament setting. No need to have the extras, and that way it gives me full time to put all my energy into that instead of like having guys go from college or whatever. Also the college likeness thing, it makes it hard on like branding and stuff like that. So I mean with 2K, it's maybe easy because you could just load in uniforms and stuff like that. But Madden, you actually have a game, so I can like do custom teams and just set that as what it is moving forward. But 2K gets a little more difficult. Like 2K is just more customization. So although that's a good thing, it could be a bad thing if players don't have the game and they can't do stuff for their players and stuff like that. So um that guy said he left 2 weeks ago. But yeah, just hit me in the messages. BJ, we locked in, so I'll get you in tune. But appreciate y'all, man. It's been real. I'm gonna get out of here. But yeah, some basketball stuff will be on the way soon, man. For all the guys that staying in tune with the channel, I actually get into the basketball Discord too. We have separate Discords, so I'll get in the basketball Discord and start hitting guys about that as well. So yeah, man, we gonna figure this thing out. But appreciate y'all for rocking with me. It's your boy Commissioner Moolah, and I am out. Peace.